What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a beautiful day. Thank you, as always, and so much for joining me here. Today we're listening to Iron Maiden. Why did I say Iron Maiden? It's like a pirate. With their song, Alexander the Great. So this is off of their album Somewhere in Time, released in 1986. Okay, so last time on the channel we listened to Hallowed Be Thy Name, which I liked, but I didn't love. I didn't feel as strongly towards it, for example, as Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. That's a song. I love that song, okay? Now, some of you kind of helped me out with the perspective of it. You know, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner came like later, you know, they were a more experienced band, etc., etc. So, I asked for more recommendations, kind of, you know, maybe that I would love, the same way I do with Rhyme. And Alexander the Great was one that came up quite a bit in the comments here. Let's see, who's recommended this song? Jimmy Jump, Kekun Kepkar, Patrick, Sid, Bruce, Cosman, Kathleen. Like, there's a lot of you in there. So this seems to be possibly an underrated song, but one that the fans know. And I'm here to be in the pit with you guys. So thank you so much once again for being here. Without further ado, let's just jump into the music. I was thinking about the movie Alexander the Great, or maybe it was just Alexander, which was with Colin Farrell, I believe. I never fully saw that movie, even though I really wanted to. But how funny would it be if Alexander was played, instead of by Colin Farrell, Will Ferrell? Let's get into the song. This is Alexander the Great by Iron Maiden. Iron.
My son, ask for thyself another kingdom, for that which I leave is too small for thee.
Okay, so coming from someone who loves history, I love how the band took a whole semester of Macedonian history, politics, warfare, specifically of Alexander the Great. They took a whole 9 weeks of that and just crammed it into an 8 minute metal epic song. Like, that's an achievement on its own, right? And this song, so there's a few things that are really good about it. And by a few things, I mean a lot of things. Bruce, duh. Like, there's no need to talk about Bruce, right? But I want to talk about the guitarist, actually, Dave Murray and Adrian Smith, okay? Because I see here on the personnel they're also using guitar synthesizers, which, gotta be honest, no idea what that is. I would imagine that's just some sort of effect that they use on the guitars, right? I would imagine kind of like a synthesizer, like a keyboard. Listening to this song, especially in the beginning, I would imagine they're using those guitar synthesizers, whatever effects are on there, because you can hear a lot of different ambience being kind of drawn around the melodies of the song. That I would initially, if I didn't see that, and if I didn't know Iron Maiden to an extent, I would think would be like a keyboardist in the band. And yet it's not, as far as I can tell. It's more than likely just either Murray or Smith on the guitars. And I think that the atmosphere that they lay down with the guitars is palpable, is exciting, because it gets you excited for what's to come next. And what comes next is just some throbbing riffage. Like, what would you expect, right? Maybe throbbing riffage isn't the best way to describe it. And then Steve Harris on the bass, he's also using a bass synthesizer, so I'd imagine he's adding to that atmosphere as well. And then he gets some little, like, kind of pocket solo grooves near the ending of the song in that long solo, which isn't long-winded, it's long-awaited. There's a difference, because those solos that took place at the end of the song were so worth the wait to get to them. Not that I was, like, impatient to get to, like, something else, but when the solo started, they went on for just the right amount of time. It was long, it took a few minutes, but I enjoyed every single note that was struck, every single chord that was played. This song had it all. Now, one thing about Iron Maiden that I find myself drawn to is, just for myself, one of my favorite bands is Symphony X. And I know that Iron Maiden was around before Symphony X, but just for myself, I love the way that Russell Allen sings, I love the guitars, I love everything about Symphony X. So Iron Maiden kind of have a somewhat similar sound in a lot of their music. Also, forgive me, I'm like slowly losing my voice. So just listening to the intensity, the melody built up, like, it all just works so well. And this middle break is so cool the way they build it up. You hear kind of similar melodies that we heard in the beginning. And then, with that explosion, the final battle begins. Like, this is just raw. You feel something coming. Hold on, wait for the drop, wait for it. Yeah. The hi-hats. The driving aggression. And the solos. That's good. That would be so fun to see live. Like, really, really, really fun to see live. I'm just reading an article about this song, and it says, asked in a radio interview a few years ago why Iron Maiden has never played this song live. Bruce Dickinson answered because Adrian Smith can't remember the guitar solo. He said when the song was originally written, they put the solo through a load of very advanced computer music wizardry, and it couldn't figure out the time signature and stuff. I mean, I think that's hilarious. But if we come back to the beginning, I love this. Those almost harp-like plucks. I love that. That's such a little bit of like lemon zest in the whole, I almost said bowl of yogurt, but I don't think you use lemon. Let's just talk about the lyrics. So I'm not going to read all of the lyrics, but they kind of speak for themselves. This is just a nice, succinct history lesson of Alexander the Great that I would imagine is pretty accurate to what they're saying. My son, ask for thyself another kingdom, for that which I leave is too small for thee. I would imagine this is Alexander's father dying, passing on the kingdom for him, and he says, hey, take this seed and make it a tree. And it becomes like a tree. Near to the east, in the part of ancient Greece, in an ancient land called Macedonia, was born a son to Philip of Macedon. The legend, his name was Alexander. It says, in the age of 19, he became the Macedon king, and he swore to free all of Asia Minor. In 334 BC, he utterly beat the armies of Persia. Alexander the Great, his name struck fear into hearts of men. Alexander the Great became a legend amongst mortal men. And he is still being talked about and taught about today. Now, it's been a really, really long time since I've read into Alexander the Great, but his story is a fascinating one. And then, as it says in the very end, after the adventure and the tales and the history, Alexander the Great, he died of fever in Babylon. Anyways, awesome song. Thank you guys so much for the recommendation. Sorry that my voice is like slowly going out. I think I'm going to this is the last song I'm recording tonight because it's hard for me to get through certain sentences. But I hope that you're having a fantastic day. Thank you once again so much for being here. If you'd like, you can support the channel on Patreon. You can follow me on Twitter. And hopefully you'll be back tomorrow. Or hopefully my voice has cleared up a little bit. Probably not much, but maybe a little bit. But hope that you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for being here. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.